Welcome everyone to a brand new episode of MobieTalks. For those who are new here, MobieTalks is a format that we created almost 3 years ago to share real experiences, best practice, and strategies on how to train, connect, and support frontline teams. I'm Laura, marketing manager at MobieTrain. MobieTrain is the all-in-one platform designed to help companies train, communicate, and support their frontline teams in completing their own tasks every day, creating an incredible customer and guest experience, and of course, to support sales. Today, we will follow I would say like a different approach because we're going to share experience, but we will be very practical. And together with my guest today, we will show you like how to use technology to collect data, turn those data into a strategy, and turn this strategy into a real action. So we will explore together. I would say how combining like mystery shopping and training can drive tangible results in retail, and how target employee training can really support you when it comes to bridge gaps. So, as you know, it doesn't, even if retailers have a lot of strategies, sometimes it's not easy to turn those strategies into action. And especially right now, there are a lot of challenges that retailers are facing right now. So, together, we will talk about very practical solutions. Before we dive in, uh, Julia?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I was hearing something. So before we dive in, so let me introduce our guest. We have Niek Koning, founder of Secret View. Hi, Nick.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
We have Jesse Posla, account executive at MobieTrain. Hi, Jesse.
That's the best I've ever heard my last name, Laura. Thanks.
No,
Good morning.
can you correct me if I'm wrong? I'm sorry.
No, no, it's
I'll
pretty
do
good.
better.
Pretty good.
And then we also have Julia. Julia is our marketing specialist. You can see now Julia on stage. She will leave the stage, but don't worry because she will take care of the chat. As you can see, we have a chat. So feel free to share your experience, ask your question. We're here for you. So let's start our conversation. Nick, I have a question for you. I was mentioning that you're the founder of Secret View. Would you like to tell us more about Secret View and why this collaboration with MobieTrade?
Yeah, so my name is Niek. I'm the founder at Secret View, and obviously we measure the customer experience for big retailers and hospitality chains by sending out our mystery shopping community. I don't think you should only do mystery shopping for mystery shopping. I think it's very important to have like a follow-up. And yeah, in my day-to-day activities, I often hear retailers that they have big plans, big strategies, but there's also a lot to do on the shop floor. So sometimes they struggle with implementing those strategies, and yeah, they come to us to measure that part. But it's not only measuring; it's also the follow-up. So I think, there we find common ground with MobieTrain.
Thank you, Nick. So, as we dive deeper into the topic of today, as I was mentioning before, we want to explore the challenge that you were mentioning before. And even if those retail brands they really have a clear strategy, sometimes it's not easy to face those challenges because, as we know, it's one thing to define a solid plan, it's quite another to bring it to life and to the shop floor. So here's the question. This question could be for both of you. So Jesse, Nick, feel free to answer. In your experience, why does execution often fall short in retail?
Nick, do you want to go first?
No, yeah, you start off.
All right. Um, it's maybe a funny metaphor, but it is one that's used in the military. There are not many plans that survive the first contact with the enemy. Because, yeah, the day to day in retail, we've all been in shops, it gets busy. There are a lot of priorities that are happening at the same time. We all know about the turnover that we see, and how do you make sure that you continuously get the people up to speed? Not do it in a one size fits all way, because, yeah, people are different, and so is training and communication. And these are all elements that put a lot of stress, we've seen, on the strategy in retailers, really in the translation to the day to day. And I also think that's a bit where Secret View and the alignment between us comes in. No shop is alike, even though you are at the same chain, but there are always going to be differences, nuances in region, in the management, in the people that work there. So we really see to translate it, or rather, you asked me when it falls short. It is because with all best intentions, retailers rely too much on a one size fits all approach. Whereas, we're talking 2025 now. There is so much possible to really create it in a size that actually fits. And that's something that we've been really seeing and also discovering with a lot of retailers. That's that's been working miracles for them. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And also, I think even though there are a lot of KPIs available in store for the management as well, I mean, with all respect, I think people on the shop floor, they do not have so much with numbers. I think it's way more easy to have like real examples of what happened. They often lack those examples. So. And also, I often get these questions. We want to train our employees, but what do we? What are our needs? And then I do training, and then often it's a very general training for every store or for every employee, the same training. While we see in our data that the needs per employee or per store, can be very different. So if you know, why not set up like a modular training program, making sure that everyone gets the training where there's room to improve.
Yeah, and maybe also to add to it, finally, we really see that, usually the upper management just knows 10% about what's actually happening in the store. And also consider it for yourself, right? If you are new in a store and it's your first day, who you're going to ask for tips and tricks? It's not the CEO, right? It's, the people that are working in the store that know actually what works best for them. So it's about bridging that gap from strategy to execution. I also think, that will be the topic for today, obviously.
Yeah, indeed.
Wow, I was writing down a few things because I think that you made it really clear. So we've been talking about differences that has to be considered. Not every shop is like the other one. A solution one fits all approach is not working anymore. And of course, as you were mentioning, not everyone is so let's say used to the KPIs approach, especially when you're talking about a store. So going back to you, Nick, how do secret views helps retailer identify gaps, for example, in customer journey, operational execution, and in store performance to pinpoint where the businesses actually need to focus?
Yeah, so I would love to show you a little bit more with a case in our online platform. But before I do so, firstly, I want to do a short presentation to introduce Secret View a little better. Hold on, I'm gonna quickly share my screen. I think you can see it now.
Sorry,
Yes,
I was on mute. We can see it.
So before I kick off, I shortly introduce Secret View and myself. Again, my name is Niek. I'm the founder at Secret View, and 10 years ago I started Secret View during my college time. I came across mystery shopping during courses, but also I had a side job in a clothing store with a very young target audience. And we also have mystery shoppers, but as I said, we had a very young target audience, and the mystery shoppers coming to our store. They were always a little bit older, so we often knew who the mystery shopper was. And they were coming like twice a year. And so within that time window, it was a big thing in our team. But then for 6 months straight, the attention faded away until they came again. And also those mystery shoppers, they were like professional mystery shoppers. So they were driving all over the country just to make some extra money. But I didn't feel like they were actually part of our target audience. And then it took like a couple of weeks until we got the results back, and then we got this Excel file, and we could scroll endlessly to learn what happened. But it didn't motivate me at all to learn something from that. And my boss was really using the results to punish us instead of using it as a mirror. And this is how customers experience the time around you, which I find very interesting. So started to do some research in the market, and quickly found out that it's a very traditional market, and there was a lot of room to do it differently. because I think that mystery shopping is, at least in my opinion, one of the most realistic ways to measure all the aspects around selling a product or a service, but then you need to use those data in the right way. So this is where Secret Few was born. And about 10 years later, we're now with almost 30 people at our office here in Arnhem in the Netherlands, active for more than 100 big retail and hospitality chains, nowadays in more than 30 countries. It sounds huge. Well, I'm proud of it, of course, but our roots are obviously in the Benelux, but since 2019, Rituals gave us the opportunity to roll out globally for them, and nowadays we are still working for them. And after Rituals, some other big retail and hospitality chains joined them all over Europe. Now in more than 15 languages, and we have a community of over 50,000 real customers being our mystery shopping community. These are our clients. I'm not gonna go through all of them, but I think the one thing they have in common is that they all value the customer experience very much. And another thing is that I think they're all front runners in their specific market. This is our clients. This is our team. Also not going to introduce them all to you, but giving you a little view behind to show you who's working on Secret Few. We have all the core processes in house. So I think if you work for those big retailers, they expect some kind of flexibility, but also scalability. And because we build our own software, we're always able to scale together with our clients. So this is a little bit of background information about Secret Few. I would love to show you our platform now, and I'm not sure if you can see it now, so I need to
yes, we're really curious to see the platform now, but thank you for the intro, and congratulations for all the things that you're doing right now with a huge team. We can see your screen.
Great. So before we go to the dashboard, I first want to show you the part where our mystery shoppers gather. I think it's firstly important to know that before becoming a mystery shopper, you go through a full ID check, so we know who you are, and it's especially to guarantee some quality in our results. So this is after you signed up at Secret Few, the environment where you can see in your work and living region what kind of assignments are available. So now I've selected Amsterdam, and you can see all kinds of assignments available live currently in Amsterdam. And one other thing to pinpoint is I already mentioned, I'm not a big fan of professional mystery shoppers. So I think it's our goal to get as close as possible to a real customer experience together with our mystery shoppers. So to do so, we do not give our mystery shoppers like a financial compensation to conduct the assignment, but we give them shopping budget. And they go buy something from that budget. And this way, only people sign up which are really part of your target audience, but also living in the region of the store. So I think this is a very important starting point for conducting a qualitative mystery shopping research. As you can see, there are all kinds of assignments available. And if you think, would love to do one, you can click on one and to find more information about it. And you go through a flow to make sure that you understood everything correctly, which you need to do, because every assignment is of course different, and we expect different things from you as a mystery shopper. So you go through the full flow, and after that you can sign up. And obviously this is not if you sign up you will get the assignment, because mostly more people sign up for a assignment. So we pick the best mystery shopper for the job to do it. And to measure this process, every time a mystery shopper does a assignment for us, we will rate them. So there will be a quality control. So even though our community is getting bigger and bigger, we can maintain the quality of our community. And so before a result goes to the dashboard, we'll make sure that the result has been checked to make sure that the feedback is positive, even though it's not always a positive message, but constructive, positive. And of course, if the pictures have been taken in the right way, if all the answers have been given in the right way, and if everything's fine, we'll rate the mystery shopper and we'll set through the results to the dashboard. Before I'm going to show you the dashboard, I would love to show you one little thing, how we collect the data. And by doing mystery shopping research, it's not only about the numbers, but it's even more important to get like real examples of what happened on the shop floor, which you can of course use by when you do a training, for example. So I've opened already one survey, and I'm sorry that the question is in Dutch, but it doesn't really matter. But this question is all about if there was a positive contact moment when entering the store. The yes and no makes it possible, well, to measure it and get a percentage behind it. Of course, it could also be multiple answers. But the explanation, of course, gives you the example of what happened. And yeah, if you can, there are emojis below, and you can see now the emoji is not really happy because there's no text there. So this way we try to make sure that the mystery shopper understood that he needs to explain a little better. And if you add text, and I'm sorry if you do this, you won't go to quality control, but I have nothing to type right now. But as you can see that the emoji is getting more happy and more happy. And this way, per question, we can make sure that we get the right the right example of what happened. So this is the community side of our platform. I would love to show you now our online dashboard. So yeah, it's on multiple levels. So it's on management level, regional level, and location level. We are currently on the management level. And I'm just going to go through it to give you an idea of how we share the data. So yeah, this is the average score of the research, and this is a case with fake data, but it's based on a fashion case and a fashion retailer. So this is the average score, the score over time. Of course, then you can see how many surveys we've collected at how many locations, the average time spent in a store. Also, you can see here the average spend. And hold on, I'm sorry, I'm going to quickly change my window again. So the average time and location, total spend, and also the average spend. So we give our mystery shoppers like budget to buy something, as I told you. And here you can see what they spend. They're always free to spend a little more. So on average, we see that the mystery shoppers spend 30% more, especially when they have a good experience. It's tailor-made, so together with the retailer, we'll define what the customer journey is and what it looks like. And in this case, this is the journey. And of course, it's obviously from the beginning till the end of the visit at the store. You can see in one blink of an eye where things go well and less well. Then we have all kinds of segmentations. So for example, in a location can be in multiple groups actually, or multiple segmentations. So for example, here you can see the area managers, so you can see how they perform, or how different countries perform, or how types of shop perform. And maybe it's very logical that the franchises do a little better than your own stores. Below you see your best performing locations, the worst performing locations, best performing questions, and worst performing questions. And the idea of our dashboard is that, every time you want to know more about a specific thing within the dashboard, you can click on it to learn more about it. So for example, if you're curious to learn more about the advice, because it's only 55% and you're not happy with that, you can click on it to zoom into it, and all the data now displayed on this page is related to the advice. So as you can see, all the data is now about that. So you can see how you're doing over time, but again, those segmentations come back. So apparently the advice is going a little better in the region of Tom than, for example, in the region of Stefan, or it goes better in the Netherlands than in the UK. So this way you can see very specifically where are the needs within our retail organization. And based on the advice, apparently Den Haag Spuistraat is doing very well. So maybe you can use them as an example, but also you can see that some of the stores aren't performing so well on this specific part of the journey. So this makes it possible for you to, and this is also where MobieTrain comes around the corner, I think. Apparently those stores, they can really use a training based to make sure that they are getting better on the advice part of the customer journey. So because there are really needs about that. eventually below you find all the questions which are connected to the advice, and then you still see, well, apparently some questions are doing fine, but in this case only 24%, and only 24% of the cases the employees did an attempt to cross-sell. So you want to learn more about it because you're not satisfied with that. So you can click on question level, and yeah, now you get the same view, but now it's only related to this one question about cross-selling. And then you can see, like, again, well, apparently in the region of Tom, this goes better than here. Yeah, and even though we do 24%, and then half they always do, or an 8 out of 10 times they do, they ask this question. But you can also see some locations never ask this question, so we really need to focus to make sure that they start asking this question. And then eventually below you find all the answers being given. And yeah, if you think, well, this is an interesting answer, I want to learn more about it, you can click on the answer, and then you get on the lowest level of the dashboard, and now you're on questionnaire level. So yeah, here you can find all the information about this specific questionnaire. And you find also back all the answers being given. So yeah, you get a really good overview of what happened. And yeah, there's also an AI assistant which instantly gives you a summary of what happened. And if in case a location did very well, as a retail manager, you can, for example, also decide to give a reward to one of your store managers. You can just easily pick one, select one, and yeah, well, send it. So yeah, now I've shown you how you can use it as a retail manager, for example, or as someone from management. But also store managers get access to the results. So yeah, they'll get notifications when there's a new result available, so they can log in straight away to see how did they do. And yeah, so if they log in, they will end up on their own location dashboard. And as you can see, now we are on yeah, well, the store in London. Yeah, well, they can benchmark straight away with yeah, well, with the company average. So the blue line is how the company is doing, and the yellow line is yeah, well, how the specific location is doing. So in this case, they know we need to do a little better to get at least back at the company average. And yeah, well, they can see their own data. So you can see these are different results than on the previous pages, because these data are only related to this specific store. Yeah, so this is how they can see it on location level. Then there's also a benchmark, because this is the benchmark on yeah, on the total average. But they can do a little bit. No, there's a bigger benchmark to do. So here you can just like, well, for example, select a location and edit. And here you can also, well, compare or benchmark the visit types. You can compare how am I doing as a location on category level. And you can even compare all the questions we've asked and see how do I do as a store compared to the company average. Then obviously you have an overview of all your service we've collected, and if you did really well, there will be celebrations coming down, and if you even if you score over 100%, there will be 100 raining down. Lastly, I think it's good to know we also have an incentive program, so it's our goal to really to make it fun also for everyone attending in the research. So yeah, the better they do, yeah, the bigger the incentive, and here they can also follow the progress of their yeah, of their scores. Yeah, I think there's a lot more, of course, but I think this gives you a good overview of how you can use our dashboard. Yeah, and how you can really know where the needs are within your organization.
Nick, I think that this presentation was perfect, and I really like the design of this platform. I think that everything is very clear, and it looks like also very simple for the store manager to use it. So that's great. So you were talking about you can see performance from country, people, shops. So you can see the benchmark, you can see performance over time. And I think that those are like a lot of data that you're giving to the retailer so they can really see what it's going and they can really take action. And I think that that's great. We got a question from Michelle in the chat. So it's like, how do you define those questions? I think that he's referring to the question that you were showing before. Like, do
Yeah,
you
it's a good
define them
question.
with clients?
It's tailor made. So together with the retailer upfront, we'll set a goal. What's the goal of the research, and then of course we'll define the customer journey and cut it up in pieces and make sure that we ask all the right questions. And to do so, there's of course an onboarding, and there's a specialist from us making sure that all the right questions will be asked.
Great, perfect. Okay, Julia, I know that Julia was sharing also some questions that we collect from clients. So she was asking, for example, like, is the platform something store manager can use too, or it's more for the head office team? Somehow you already answered this question, but I think maybe it's good to repeat that.
Yeah, so yeah, there are multiple levels. Of course, the management, they can see all the results. But for example, a regional manager, they can see their full region and also see how the region is doing compared to the company average. And yeah, obviously also the store manager can log in to see how do they perform.
Sorry, I was on mute again. So we got a lot of information from Nick, and we got the chance to see Secret View in action. You already mentioned that, of course, you're getting a lot of data, you're getting a lot of. This is really helpful when it comes to defining into when it comes to your frontline employees. So Jesse, now it's your turn. Let's talk about how can we translate this into action and how we can use training. But before doing that, during the introduction, I was mentioning MobieTrain. Would you like to tell us more and how MobieTrain is actually supporting retail companies?
Yeah, 100%. What I will do is I will continue on the track that Niek was on. So I will also share my screen with you guys. And it should be there now.
Okay, we can see the screen.
Does it also move?
Yes. Yes.
Amazing. Good. So yeah, thanks first and foremost, Niek, for opening our eyes on what's possible with data and how you can actually do a diagnosis as a retailer of your current situation. Now let's discuss how we're gonna go forth from there. So yeah, as said, we now have a diagnosis, we have data, we have nuances, we know which areas, which managers, which teams are doing better, and also which teams to improve. And like we said, every team, every organization, every person is different. So what we not want to do is just put something generic, something one size fits all on paper and push it on the floor, as I've here tried to illustrate with AI, because MobieTrain is a modern company, of course. And it's funny because it's a mistake that we still see a lot of retailers, for example, fashion is what you mentioned, Nick, but they still make it a lot. Whereas they really acknowledge that all of our bodies are different. We have sizes from extra small to extra large, or even 6 times extra large if you shop on AliExpress. But yeah, in retail, they still consider training sometimes a one size fits all affair. So how do we make sure that we, together with all the data and also with the support of MobieTrain, create a program that resonates with the employees, and we really see there that it has to be relevant for them. Relevance and the way you position it are the most important drivers in adoption and engagement. Think for yourself. If you see a training platform with 20% of the content that's relevant for you, where 80% isn't, you're going to disengage. But it also should fit within your daily flow of work. Really consider retail, guys. I mean, people here are not behind desks. They don't have hours to train. We also see Gen Z on the work floor with the shorter attention spans. I mean, consider their social media. So how do we also make sure that it's short and sweet and engaging for them? and ultimately that it will change their behavior and their performance. Or maybe to stick with the metaphor, how we put together a program that's tasty, that does not take you hours to eat, that improves your health and also your performance. And I think that's where MobieTrain comes in. Maybe some history on MobieTrain. I'm not a founder like Niek, so I'm gonna try to tell it as engaging as can from our founder's point of view, Guy. Guy founded MobieTrain in 2015, and it's very relevant for this particular webinar because Guy came from mystery shopping, just like Niek. He visited a whole lot of retail chains, pretty significant ones, and there he really saw, that there was an inconsistency behind individual stores within chains, and it makes sense because a lot of them really leaned on their managers and some outdated methods to create the ambassadors. And obviously, there weren't really tools available for this particular use case at the time, so an idea was born. And of course, 10 years later, we've also made some really big impact, working together with a lot of retailers and also other companies in the space of frontline employees. So how do we make sure we really transform those teams? We've identified 3 pillars that are really important to actually make training and communication not a tick a box affair, but really to impact the performance. First of all, the training. The training in MobieTrain is always relevant, short, sweet, and gamified. And I'm about to show you in a minute. Second pillar is communication. Not every topic requires an entire training. How do you make sure that you also connect your employees in store with the HQ, for example? But also, how do you break down knowledge barriers between the individual stores? You might have a very good way of greeting your clients or your visitors in Amsterdam. Why not share that with The Hague and Rotterdam and wherever? And the third part is performance. How do you also incorporate coaching and a way for employees to ask questions when they don't have a manager or more senior colleague available, so that they also have a performance support buddy? These 3 pillars is what MobieTrain is built around. But then we get the question a lot, super nice, Jesse, but who will create and maintain all this? I think it's really good to highlight that MobieTrain is fully built around 2 concepts. First one is the minimum investment. So MobieTrain, together with AI, together with our content team, the library, everything we have is really built for teams to be able to set up an environment and also to maintain it and to keep it engaging and to adjust for nuances based on language, culture, knowledge gaps, whatever, in a fast way. Second part is the engagement. Obviously, 50% is the platform, but the other 50% is also our customer success and our teams that really help you get the most out of those platforms. Because it is a utopia to think that when you launch a platform, magically the customer experience will improve, but it's really putting them together. Consider maybe the restaurant use case. You can give me a pretty nice kitchen. I'll make some decent dishes for you. But if you now also get me trained by a top chef, it's really what's gonna shine. So quickly around us, the impact that we've seen, we really see that we work on 2 pillars. We both go faster than the traditional and more face-to-face training, but we also see that it really impacts the knowledge of the employee and how engaged they are. And ultimately, when retailers give us the data, and it's also something we will be exploring further, obviously, with Secret View, we'll be able to get some really nice correlations between them. But of course, let me also just quickly show you how
maybe Jesse, before we go, we take a 5-minute tour into MobieTrain. We received a few questions actually.
Okay.
So I'm going to, of course, as I was mentioning, we collect some questions from clients. So I'm going to start with the one that we're receiving right now during the webinar. Sorry. So the first one is from Paul. Let me show it on stage. How do you determine the training needs for your clients?
And that's a question for me. I take it, Lara, how we do it right now, right?
Yes, I think it's on training. Nick, if you want to add something, I think that this one it's more on Nomi training.
As is, we really sit down with their management, their C levels, and talk with them around the topics that they want to improve, their strategy for the year, and we help them, we advise them on the program. But obviously, and that's also why we're here in the webinar today, there are so many nuances to actually execute set strategies, set programs, and that's what we'll be exploring, I think, going forth with a couple of common clients that we have between Niek and ourselves to now really also create nuances in this program. So right now, really with the C levels, and we give them advice based on obviously all the other clients we work with. But again, more data, more knowledge, more better, and that's what we will do with Secret View together.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to show another one from Michelle as well. So, okay, this is something a situation that we know very well. So we do training, but we don't have that many people that can actually work on training. How can you make sure to create content and keep the team engaged?
That's a very good question. As said, MobieTrain is not just a platform, but it also comes with all the knowledge and all the hands to support you in creating engaging content and also to keep it engaging. And one of the pillars is the content. Hey, what is actually in the training? Is it relevant? Is it in the right tone of voice? Is it short enough? But there are also many other elements that you can play with. Just like Niek said, small gifts, small rewards, for example, to give to employees when they perform well are really nice motivators. You will also see a leaderboard in MobieTrain, which I'm about to show you. So having these tiny gamification elements, competition in there, really bottom-up approach to training is what we've really seen, to keep people engaged. And also, of course, all the other elements in our platform. It's not just training, it's also a bit of community and a bit of performance support. These things, community, for example, is something that you engage with daily. Make sure that you'll keep coming back also to the platform.
Okay, thank you. We have a final one. So, with Niek, we had the chance to see how many data you can get and all the consideration that you can do. And the question is on performance. So, how do you measure progress or improvement after training?
That's a very good question, and also one that we will be discovering more with Niek. Right now, as is, you get all the training, the training and communication data. So adoption, engagement, knowledge, and their NPS. Does it resonate with our employees? Of course, we can now, as is, correlate that with data from our clients. How is the conversion? How is the actual ticket size? How many visitors do we have? How many visitors buy, etc. But we found that there are so many factors at play that impact the conversion. Obviously, we can make some correlations. Hey, getting better trained employees, having them have more knowledge does impact the conversion. But what if it's a particularly nice day or they do a super nice sale? These are all also elements that are going to impact the conversion nonetheless. So right now, it's still a correlation and it's not as statistically sound as we would want it to have. But with Secret View together, I think we'll add some real body to those numbers.
And I also think that if the shorter the feedback cycle, the better it sticks actually. So if you really want to change people's behavior, you should confront them a little more than just every now and then. And if you follow up continuously with the right training, you'll get an improvement cycle.
Yeah, and something that we can add, because I remember that, Niek, you were also showing that you can get data also on the people in the store. So if you can see that, for example, one of the employees is not performing very well, you can do training and you can see if after training, those performance are like improving. So of course, it's like combining trainings and all the data there to make sure that you can really have a huge impact. So I think that this is like a nice example.
Yeah, but also the mystery shopping score, sometimes it's not as high as you expected it to be as an employee in the shop. But if you always greet with, well, if, for example, with the three of us are working in a shop, and you two always greet everyone who is coming into the store, and I don't, but and then you get the mystery shopping result back, for example. There's always some kind of a social thing in the team where you and Jesse will tell me to greet people because you want to have you want to improve as a store. It was just an example, but I think you get the point.
Yeah, definitely.
100%, and I completely agree with having a bit better of a cadence in there, doing the continuous mystery shopping. It's just like learning, and that's also why we incorporate micro learning. You don't learn products or selling or whatever by doing a 2-day long digital training or classroom training. Rather, we humans learn and improve in small increments, tiny 2-3 minute steps. Think about it while you brush your teeth, on the way to your work, whatever it is. The continuous cadence is a more natural way for us humans to do it as well. So nice approach, Nick.
Yep.
Okay. We have another question for you, Nick. Then you can show more. So the question is from Hen. How does Secret View's approach stand out from more traditional mystery shopping services?
Yeah, so I think that's not one thing. I think it's a couple of things which makes our approach unique. But firstly, as I mentioned, we do not work with professional mystery shoppers, but there are real customers coming to visit your store. They do on average like 4 to 5 visits on a yearly basis. So I think that says it all. I mean, they're not doing this as a full-time job. Those people are from your target audience, and they will buy something in your store, and that's the only reward they get. So it's actually your target audience. Secondly, of course, we provide all those results in a tailor-made dashboard, which we continuously improve, and we also fully embrace AI. This is maybe sounds really normal to you guys, but in our market, it's not really normal to have your own dashboarding. And because we have it, we are continuously improving and making sure that we get all the value out of the data that we collect for you. And third, I think to really get to the attention on everyone on the shop floor, you need to confront them more than just every now and then. I think our pricing really makes it possible to send out mystery shoppers throughout the whole year. Just to give you an example, on average, our clients, they do it every month. But also we have clients like, for example, Pathé Cinemas, they do it every 2 weeks, or Albertine to Go, they do it every week. So they will have 52 mystery shoppers on a yearly basis. And again, if you really want to improve this behavior of people and make sure that they understand that, you have to hold up that mirror more than just every now and then.
Okay.
So that's it. Yeah.
Okay, I think that we perfectly answered the question. So it seems like we don't have any more questions, at least for the moment. So Jesse, if you want, would you like to show us a bit more of MobieTrain in action?
Of course, I'll do a very quick run through, as I see we're going a bit over time, but just for you to get a taste on what performance enablement with training, communication, and the performance part could look like. Again, here comes my screen, and you should be able to see it right now.
Yes, we can.
I can't see you, so if you can, awesome. Does it move, or are we?
It's working.
Great. So here we are in the front end of MobieTrain, and I've gotten our client New Zealand Auckland to sign off on me using their branded demo. Do know that this is a demo environment, so all the content in there is demo. It's actually AI generated, but just so you know. So you're going to see a lot of elements from social media and other popular platforms throughout our platform, because really what we see is with the younger generation, Gen Z, coming on board the work floor, they are on the Instagrams and the Spotifys and what have you all day long. So they're also really judging you as an employer on your digital savviness. So we've really seen that using all these elements in there really makes for great engagement. And also here, for example, you can see some soft elements of Netflix. It also gives for a very branded and visual look in there. And also, just like Netflix, MobieTrain's content in there is personalized. What you don't want to have is a one-size-fits-all academy. You want something that is personal and relevant to you. So in the back end, obviously, and also perhaps with the results from Secret View, you can really easily create groups with variables to make sure that, yeah, whatever you send to whichever employee, it's gonna resonate with them. If we scroll down, we have the different categories. This demo is in English, but yeah, obviously with AI translation, it can be easily translated to 30 other languages. And if we look at the different pillars in MobieTrain, the first one was training. So let's say, for example, that we've gotten some data from Secret View and we know that the welcoming part in some stores is still a bit lacking. So with AI and together with our library and consultants, we have now created a training on welcoming employees, or sorry, visitors rather, and let's do it. A training in MobieTrain is always short and sweet. So when you click play, you always see what you're going to do and more importantly, how long it's going to take you. So if we click on play, we have a 15 minutes training, but it will be split up into small 5-minute segments. So it's easy for your employees to fit in their day-to-day job. When we open a training, we have different formats available, obviously. Text, pictures, videos. We can, with AI, generate all the textual parts. We are now working on the pictures. But yeah, most retailers have very visual assets themselves to use, and we always recommend them to use as many videos as possible because obviously, yeah, that's the tried and true format. If we then continue throughout the training, you will see all sorts of gamification elements in there. Not that it becomes an entire fun fair, but all these tiny elements that are based on science and also based to really keep people engaged. So here, for example, you see the dots on the bottom of the screen. So yeah, you really have a light at the end of the tunnel. This is short, this is sweet. You know what? I'll do it. Of course, you also want to gather some data on how your employees understand what it is. So you have different question formats, multiple choice, multiple answer, really to also test them on if they get what you're trying to convey to them. Now, for the time purposes, I'll quickly scroll through. Okay, this is the first time I'm doing this, so it will give me a small tutorial, and you see you also collect points. So there are all these tiny elements in there to make training more engaging. At the end of the training, you will see how you did, the badges that you've collected and the points that you've scored, and your place in the ranking. So you see that with all these tiny elements in there, small competition, a bit of gamification, putting some incentives to, for example, the team that scores the best, the fastest. These are the things that really work and also make it a bit more resonating with employees. Now, obviously, as said, not every topic requires an entire training. Sometimes you also just want to communicate something. It can be a PDF, video, whatever. So everything you have available digitally can also be put directly behind one of these tiles. So we really see with the communication that usually employees need to know a lot to be able to give the customer experience that you desire, but that most information is a bit scattered. Some is on the SharePoint, some is on Teams, some is on WhatsApp, wherever. So with MobieTrain, you can all centralize it for them to be in the palm of their hands. Second part of the community is the newsfeed. And this is something I particularly wanted to highlight because we've been discussing on breaking down knowledge silos. Let's say, for example, that we know from Niek's data that in Amsterdam, they're pretty good at welcoming people and to actually get them into a talk. Because we've all been to stores where you have a teenager that says, hey, how can I help you? And usually myself, if it happens to me, I'd rather turn around and run away. So there are different methods. And how nice would it be if, let's say, for example, Amsterdam has a very nice method to do it. For example, hey, I was just about to make a coffee. Do you want one too? That they can also share it with the team in the community, where the team can then react to, and you have chat available for you. No open chats here, but you get what I mean. But really, any way to have the teams connected to each other and not just to the organization. Last but not least, also for time purposes, we've seen that retail can get pretty hectic, right? Mm, There are a lot of priorities that usually juggle around on the day to day. And yeah, for example, with all the turnover, we really, when we interview managers, say, for example, that, or we hear, for example, that all the repeat questions that they have to answer all the time is a pretty big thing, a pretty big nuisance for them. So we also have AI incorporated into the front end, obviously, for example, to answer those repeat questions. So here we have Mobi, our AI assistant that you can feed with whatever you have available digitally. It can be cashier's error codes, it can be employee handbooks, or maybe even the things from your community that have been working. And here, for example, you can ask those questions. So let's say, how do I treat visitors? And MobiTrain will automatically feed it back to you. But it can also be error codes. I get the error code 404. So really a way for your employees, yeah, to also have a support body all the time in the back of their pocket. So not gonna draw this out much longer, also because I see we're going a bit over time, but I hope I've given you now at least an overview of how we can now use the data by Niek and really to create something that is tailored and engaging and ultimately that will support your employees so that they can create the best customer experience. So thank you.
Okay, that's perfect and something that we can do. For example, we already received some question, and I think that this is for you both. This is from I cannot see the name, but I'm going to share. So, can you you mentioned a lot of things. Can you quickly give like a recap of how MobiTrain integrate the AI, and if you want to add this as well, feel free to do it.
Yeah. So AI is integrated in MobiTrain's backend, so where you create content and where you maintain the platform, and also in the front end. But always on the two pillars: how do we minimize investment for you as a company? So how do we make sure you don't have to spend as much time as you normally would have creating courses? And how do you make it the most engaging for employees? So we have AI content generation in the backend where you can upload anything you have available digitally. So the training that you saw, I had a PDF with the breaking the ice training easily generated and then transformed into a micro learning where the only thing you have to do as a company is add your videos, because AI will never add the best marketing videos for you, which your marketing department probably already has. And then in the front end, as seen, for example, we have the performance assistant, where again, you can upload anything into available digitally that you want and need your employees to know, and they can ask questions to it. See it a bit like ChatGPT, but obviously with the big difference that ChatGPT looks on the internet, so you have no control of what it will feed back to your employees. Whereas Mobi, you will be in charge of what you feed it, and coming from that, also what it will give back to your employees. So really a performance buddy for them to not have to be reliant on the managers and the more senior employees all the time. So they now also have the means to, answer some questions and solve some of the problems, especially when they're new, right? Hey, how does the cash register work? What's the product line again? How do I do this procedure, that procedure? How many days off do I have? Really things we can easily tackle with AI and solve some pretty significant real world problems.
Wait, let me check. Okay, we have one question from Harry. How do you do it with mobile phone on the work floor?
That's a very good question, and it differs from retailer to retailer. Some say, hey, we really do not want to be the shop where you have employees on their phone all the time. And that completely makes sense. So there we make sure to incorporate tablets in the backend, perhaps also behind the cash register. But we also see more and more shops and stores that have employees with the mini tablet slash smartphone on their wrists, where they can do for example, product counts and other auditing things. And MobieTrain also perfectly fits on there. And also we see with doing the micro learning, and if you make it a bit more engaging, employees are also, almost willing to do it in their own time, maybe a bit more. It's just 5 minutes. We have a lot of retailers that even give them small rewards or that they compensate them for it. But yeah, it's not as big as an issue we thought it would have been. But yeah, again, really important to communicate and make a plan clearly.
Otherwise, our mystery shoppers will know this.
There you go. Yeah, no, spot on. Spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have another question, but this time it's for you, Niek. Okay, so how do you work with your customer when it comes to define the strategy and the best KPIs?
Well, of course, obviously the strategy has been made by the management, by our clients. So we'll make sure we'll translate that into a case which, aligns with this strategy. And it can also be like, and of course, it ends up in some kind of a customer journey. And it's also possible to go through multiple customer journeys and also segment those and benchmark those with each other. But yeah, we do not make the strategy, but we'll translate it into a case with a spot-on questionnaire.
Thank you.
I think it's the same for MobieTrain, if I may be so.
Sure.
To intrude, the client creates the strategy, and we advise on how to operationalize it and the things, and perhaps we highlight gaps in there. Or again, it's more like the translation of the strategy that we do, I think, on both ends, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're running out of time, but we got a lot of questions, so it's perfect. I'm checking the chat to see if maybe we missed out any question. No? So let's say that if there are no question anymore, I will say thanks to Jesse and Niek, of course.
Just have one more question.
There's one from my side.
Okay, sorry.
To you, Niek. Yeah. You have a lot of data on a lot of different retailers, and I can imagine that they can learn a lot from each other. So how do you do that community-wise? Do you connect them to each other? What's the added value, not only to see their own data, but also, I mean, take it, you have benchmarks, you have a pretty clear database view on what's good and what's not, right?
Yeah, so this might be one of our next steps, indeed, to make it possible to benchmark. Well, I've shown you how to benchmark within your company, but one of the next steps will be to benchmark outside of the company. But for that, we need, in specific markets, we need some more numbers to make it really worth it to benchmark it. So you're not only comparing company A to B, but also to C, D, E, you know what I mean?
Well,
so for that, this is one of our next steps, actually.
One of the northern stars to navigate to.
Yeah, exactly.
Really cool, man. Super impressed by your what you're doing in the product.
Thank you.
And Laura,
sorry, I'm always going on mute to make sure that, because I have my sister here, so sometimes she's making noises. Sorry. Do you have any other question? No? Okay. So I will say thanks for joining this webinar and for being so active on the chat. Julia was already sharing more information. So if you need more information about MobieTrain, Secret View, if you want to, I don't know, maybe get a demo or whatever, feel free to reach out to us. Consider that, let's say, by the end of today, tomorrow, we will also send you an email with the recording. So you will get the chance to see this webinar, and of course feel free to ask all the questions that you want to ask. Thank you so much again, and
thank you so much for the stage.
MobieTalks.
Thank you, Laura. Thanks, public. And if you want me to buy you a coffee, be sure to hit us up, and I'm sure that's the same for Niek. So cheers.
Cheers.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.